Do you have a hot new business or an established business that offers great and unique services or products that you want to get the word out? Are you looking to grow your business and you want everyone to hear the buzz about it? Do you have an amazing project or an idea that impacts our community that you want to share and get others involved in? Then you've come to the right place. You're listening to Community Connections with Norma G. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero, and I want to share our passions while connecting with our community. So now let's get ready to hear about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening on Community Connections with Norma G. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in to Community Connections with Norma G. I'm your host, Norma Guerrero, and I want to thank you again for tuning in. We have a great show lined up for today. We're going to be talking about young professionals in the workplace and getting involved in community and charity events. Then later on in the show, we're going to have Sherry Geller of Senior Options talking about care management options for caring for your loved ones. And then we're going to have Dr. Pickholtz of Health Internal, who's a doctor of osteopathic medicine, and we're going to learn about what he's doing in his practice as well. If you'd like to find us, you can watch us live on Community Connections with Norma G on Facebook. You can also tune in at 95.3 FM on your dial, and also at 1470 AM on your radio dial as well. You can also find us on Twitter and on Instagram to follow us. So check us out, find us. And today the reason why I picked this subject on community involvement in the workplace is because oftentimes I have guests that come on the show from many different ways. Either they call me and they want to be a guest on the show, or I meet them out and we discuss it, or I come up with a story in my head, kind of like a little journalistic kind of storyline. It's like you're a radio host and you're an interviewer, but you also kind of start to get your journalistic juices kind of flowing. And that's what happened with the next story. And when I looked into community involvement in the workplace, I ended up having my niece who is exactly doing that. She's a young professional. And so I want to introduce my niece, Rebecca Guerrero.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on today. And she is involved in a charity event over at her workplace where she's working, and I wanted to find out more about it. And so that's how this story got developed, and that's how it got birthed. And so we're going to talk to Rebecca. And tell me a little bit about yourself, Rebecca. And
Absolutely. I was born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I went to school at FSU, and all throughout my life, I've tried to balance school and volunteering, and that was something that was very important to me when I came into working. I knew that I still wanted to maintain that avenue, and luckily where I work, which is the Executive Search Group, I was provided an opportunity almost right out of the gate to begin working in various avenues for charity. And that initially began right about the week to 2 week mark. When I started there, I received an email from the Women's Network.
oh, wow. And so, well, let's back up a little bit. Hold on a second. So when did you graduate college?
Only 6 months ago.
Okay. And where did you go to college?
FSU.
Okay, FSU.
Florida State.
So you're a Knoll.
Absolutely.
You're a Knoll
Through
all
and
the way,
through.
through and through? Okay. And so you graduated 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you find a job so quick?
Well,
Because I'm sure there's a lot of young people out there going, wow, you graduated, you found this job.
yeah, you just have to be as resourceful as possible. I must have applied to nearly 40 different places. I literally had an Excel sheet going of all the different places I applied to and the different roles I applied in. Of course, other people use Indeed, Career Builder, Monster, all great avenues.
Okay.
And they actually reached out to me because they came across my resume off of LinkedIn, messaged me, and then one thing led to another. I met the team, I came and visited the company, and absolutely fell in love.
So through LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
And ExecuSearch, what kind of company is that?
So the Executive Search Group is a staffing firm.
Okay.
And we have 11 different lines of business, and we're located primarily in the Northeast. We are
Okay.
headquartered there, but we have 2 new offices in Florida,
Okay.
each about a year and a half old. And so I'm working out of the Fort Lauderdale office. and I specialize in the healthcare services industry.
Okay, interesting, interesting. So you're telling me you're at work, and we're talking today about community involvement and the benefits in the workplace. And what I've observed and what I've experienced in my life and working is that it helps increase morale. It helps
Absolutely.
increase camaraderie and teamwork. And it also gives you an opportunity to balance a little bit of socialization with a little bit of working, and also just, helping people in the community. What charity did you get involved in at work?
So
ExecuSearch.
yeah, absolutely. So one of the first charities that, sort of came up in our communications, primarily through the Women's Network, was a charity called Cycle for Survival. It's paired with Memorial Sloan Kettering.
Okay.
It's a cancer center that basically does a lot of research in regards to various forms of cancer.
And they're in New York City. I think that's a
Yes.
big hospital, cancer research hospital in New York City.
Very, very large
Okay.
cancer hospital. And so the ExecuSearch group has been doing Cycle for Survival for some years now. And when they reached out looking for, someone to sort of continue it on in the Florida market,
Okay.
it sort of spoke to me.
So do you have any experience in your personal life or in your school life of doing any type of charity type of events?
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
community works?
There was a lot of different events that, I've done throughout my life. Of course, most high schoolers remember Relay for Life, and that's similar to Cycle for Survival in the
Okay.
sense that, instead of cycling, you're more walking around a track, but still for cancer. Then I've done things similar to the International Student Volunteers, which is an organization where you go and travel to a country and you basically help out in that country. So that was something I was very passionate
And
about.
you did that where?
So I actually did that in the Dominican Republic
Okay, through,
through International Student Volunteers
and that's while you were at college at FSU.
while I was at FSU.
Now,
yes.
if I recall, okay, first of all, we just have to take a moment. I'm a very proud aunt of this young lady, and just even these couple minutes of being with her, I'm so just really, I just want to say I'm super, super proud of you. How
I
could I not?
appreciate
You're
that.
so well spoken, and you have a very, very, you have a hard work ethic. You get it from your mother and your father, and maybe a little bit from me over the years.
Of course.
But it's beautiful to see. So I just want to just tell you that I'm super, super proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good, good. And so, if I recall, a year or two back, you were saying that you started that volunteer program at FSU,
Yeah, so,
or that branch, or
well, International Student Volunteers, obviously based off of the name, it's an international program, but they were looking for someone who could more work in the Southeast market, and there was no one at the FSU campus, so they were looking for basically, they called it a campus resource, which is an individual who could basically represent a team of people and try to get the club started and moving forward so that it's a more standing organization at that campus.
well, that's incredible. So you kind of took like a leadership stance while you're at school, and so this I've noticed this, and I've because I know you, of course. But what did your upbringing? Were you exposed to this in your upbringing?
Yeah, my mother has always been incredibly charity oriented, volunteering oriented. She's always had a leadership aspect in that. Of course, my father, more in the business avenue, has had leadership roles. And they really encouraged me from a young age to remember that no matter how far you go, you always want to look back and take care of those who might not be able to help themselves or are trying to help themselves but just could use a little extra help. And so,
So that was instilled
right
in you.
from the start, absolutely. And I'd say that, having the instinct to just take on one of those leadership roles is just, to me at least, it's an easy task to do.
Yeah.
Just because I was so passionate about these items, I wanted to see it succeed.
So the international thing that you did through the school took you to where again? What country?
The Dominican Republic.
And you had a cool experience?
Oh my God, incredible.
Yeah.
One of the best
What did you guys
life-changing
do?
experiences. So we taught education, so English, math. We taught simple hygiene things like washing your hands and brushing your teeth.
Okay.
We taught numbers, and then we also did a bit of construction.
Okay.
basically doing houses, some latrines, which basically like an
You went
outdoor
there.
toilet. I was there for 2 weeks, so you could go there for 4 weeks. I did the 2 weeks in because then I had an internship right after.
Okay. All right, cool. That's awesome. So when I was asking you a couple questions about this Cycle for Survival event that's coming up, when's the event?
So the event's March 4th, and
Okay.
my team's going on from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay. And so what I'm getting at is that how did you become team captain? Because here I am thinking I see that my niece is involved in this, but then it says team captain next to her name, and I'm like, how did you become the team captain at her work? How did that evolve
Well,
to get here?
no, I sort of just volunteered for it, honestly. It was pretty straightforward. We received some information about what Cycle for Survival is, and we knew that we were continuing it throughout the Northeast, so we wanted to sort of build that presence in Florida.
Okay.
And so it's something that definitely I could relate to, is something that I want to keep working and volunteering for. So when I saw the information about it, I simply just volunteered for it. I said I'd take it on, and then
And then how did you present it to your office personnel?
I basically stood up
Okay.
from my desk and looked across at everybody and was
With the
like,
cubicles?
yeah, they're more like desks, but yeah, pretty much. And
Okay.
I stood up and I go, hey guys, who wants to join in? And then there was a couple hands that were like, yeah, I'll do it. And then a couple more that were like, I don't even know what you're saying.
Okay. And how many people are on your team?
So we have a team of 5, including myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually it's about a team of 4 to 6, typically. Some teams I know have 8, but we're doing a team of 5, and then most likely will be 4 cyclists, though, and then doing it in 50-minute cycling sessions.
So the cycling event is where on March 4th?
So it's in Coral Gables at this health fitness center called Equinox. They're a national organization that has like these standalone bikes, the stationary bikes, and then that's what you're cycling on.
So you're going to get on a bike and just run, just cycle
Yeah, for 15 minutes, and then
And then
teammate comes in. It's like a relay cycle event.
and this goes on for 4 hours. You're on from 1 to 5 p.m.
1 to 5.
So you get a little fitness in.
Yeah.
And you're raising money, and so
Absolutely.
you're reaching out to your friends and your family and just saying, so here you have someone that has this beautiful heart and experience that wants to, continue to give back. I know it's you don't really want to ask for anything, but tell me a little bit again, what is Cycle for Survival is supporting what?
Yeah, so they're trying to raise money for rare cancer research. So the way they do this is by hosting events like this so that Memorial Sloan Kettering could do the invaluable research that it's doing. So, for example, 100% of every single dollar raised in this organization is used within the next 6 months of the event. So realistically, all the amount of money that we hope to raise is going to be put to research nearly immediately. You could not necessarily see those results, but those results are in process in labs across the U.S.
Great. So you have a goal to raise how much money as a
Our
team?
goal is $1,000. Of course, my goal is $2,000,
Okay.
but we
Aim
need
high.
$1,000.
Okay. Well, good. So you've raised a little bit, and so we're just asking people if you have, if you want to just support. What's the name of your team?
So if you're on cycleforsurvival.org and you search in team name, you're going to type in the letters TESG, which stands for the Execu Search Group. Or you could find myself by just typing in my name, Rebecca Guerrero. And so my last name, just for those who can't spell it, is Guerrero. And either way, you can find our team page to try to donate.
And that's at cycleforsurvival.org, team TESG. And tell me a little bit about your, do you have to prepare to be able to cycle like that? Have you been getting yourself a little bit fit to be able to do for?
I probably should be, but no, I'm not. Luckily, you don't have to maintain a certain pace or anything. Anybody could do it as long as you're above 18. So No, I haven't been getting into shape, but
Well,
I might want
But that's
to.
that's actually kind of what I like a lot about different charity events, or even just other types of things that are involved in fitness. It does get you off the couch. It
Oh,
does get you out of
absolutely.
your
And I
house.
definitely need that motivation. I'm not the
Yes.
self-motivated person in that regard.
And I think it's great to be doing things with other people because it's a great way to, again, balance that work and social life. And tell me a little bit about, when you saw this event come across your email that you said, and it talked a little bit about cancer. I think you have a little bit of experience.
Yeah, I have a couple relatives that have faced cancer in their lives. Some that are, or my grandfather right now is battling cancer, and luckily he's doing really well right now. And then I've unfortunately had a couple family members not do so well in their battle. But I think most people in this world at least know of someone who's had this fight with cancer, or maybe someone dear to them has had to go through this battle. And so it's definitely something that is very close to me that I try to keep in mind when I'm doing these events.
Yeah, and I can ditto everything that she's saying. And what I do know is that if we go back to, 50 years from now, whatever research they did then, they got us to the advances that we're at today. And so continuing to support causes for research are super, super important. And every dollar counts. So even if it's a simple cup of coffee of someone waiting in a waiting room while they're sitting at Memorial Sloan Kettering or something like that. So I just wanted to thank Rebecca again for taking the time, for coming in, and just continue the good work and continue the hard work. And I hope you guys have a great and successful event. And at the very least, we just wanted to share the story that getting involved in a charitable event in the workplace is a great way to build morale, to get your employees a little more fired up, helps balance that work-life thing. Whatever cause that you're passionate about, sit down with your team members, your colleagues, and pick a cause and do something in a community, and you'll reap the benefits in your own workplace. And so that's the message that I wanted to get out today. And thank you again, Rebecca, for coming in.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time. Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much. And we'll be right back with Community Connections with Norma G.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
In this day and age of social media, did you know that using live radio, internet, TV, and all the latest social media platforms can help grow your business, allowing you to more personally connect with your clients? Community Connections with Norma G invites you to be a guest on our live radio, TV, internet show. Being personally interviewed and airing pre-recorded commercials across our network will make your business selling points more powerful, make it easier for your clients to find you, and drive more traffic to your website. You can choose from a variety of radio, internet, TV packages, including live guest spots, on-air advertisement, pre-recorded commercials, and social media promotion across multiple platforms. Show airs locally on FM and AM radio in Florida, nationally on iHeartRadio, and internationally via Facebook Live and Periscope. Let Community Connections with Norma G increase your social media presence and exposure. Give us a call today to schedule your spot at 954-802-2015. That's 954-802-2015. Email me at ccnormag@gmail.com for more information, or visit me at Community Connections with Norma G on Facebook. Let's share our passions while connecting with our community. Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G, and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Welcome back to Community Connections with Norma G. You can watch us live on Facebook at Community Connections with Norma G, also on 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. And if you want to call into the show, you can reach us at 888-565-1470. And we're going to talk now. We're going to change gears a little bit. We were talking about community involvement in the workplace, but now we're going to shift gears a little bit to talking about care management for your loved ones. And we have Miss Sherry Geller. Welcome, Miss Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. And she is with Senior Options. And Senior Options is a organization that provides services for loved ones to help manage their care. So I'm going to kind of leave it up to you to tell us a little bit about what Seniors Options is. And myself, as an occupational therapist, I care for patients all the time. And so when I met her last week over the phone and she started talking, I'm like, my goodness, you sound like me. But I meant that as a compliment because I was super impressed with because I'm so in the trenches with treating these folks. And when you discharge a patient, you have to put them in the hands of either the family member, the spouse, the daughter, or someone like yourself.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about what Senior Option does and why someone would want to, retain your services to take care of their loved one.
Okay. It's a loaded question, but we'll try to break it down.
Sure.
So we oversee and coordinate care for adults who are
Come a little bit closer to the microphone, please.
having issues with their cognitive status, their functioning, or both. And children or loved ones tend not to live here. So they're going to doctors, they're failing, they're falling through the cracks, however you want to put it, and there's no oversight. So as care managers, we oversee and coordinate their care. And that, as social workers, we are looking at all the pieces of the puzzle. So we're looking at as I said, their cognitive status. We're looking to see how they're functioning. We're looking at safety in the home, socialization, medication management. We're looking at what does their day look like and how can we make it better for them? What doctors have they seen? Do they have their papers, their legal documents in order? I mean, I could go on and on. We even look at end of life. Even if I'm meeting somebody, my clients range from 62 in age to 101. We had clients as old as 103 and a half. So I don't want to say age has nothing to do with it. It does, depending on the situation. But the point is, we're looking, when we meet them, even discussing if they have a burial plot. Who knows where it is? What happens when they pass? And that could happen 5 years from now. But we're having all those conversations now. So it's a concierge service. We're looking at everything. And the goal is to improve this person's quality of life. And a lot of it is that medical review. Even though we're not doctors, we don't diagnose, but from our expertise and knowledge, we know what to look for. And we're calling out what steps should be taken, and we're following up with those steps.
Sure. So, Sherry, tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to this point with Senior Options.
Sure. So, out of school, I actually became a buyer for Macy's. I was a dress buyer, which is probably thinking, what does dresses have to do with this? Not much, but I did take all those skills, such as organizational skills, communication, prioritizing. So I took those skills with me, but I was a stay-at-home for a while, started getting bored, and my sister actually does this in New York. She has her own practice on Long Island, and she's now in Manhattan as well. And she would tell me stories without giving names, just, got this somebody called me, this woman was eating dog food. And I would say, oh my God, what did you do? How did that happen? And unfortunately, by 13, I lost all my grandparents. So I really wasn't around many people, older adults. So it was really all new to me. And she would tell me other stories, and I would keep calling her. And she said, to me one day, "Are you interested?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I took a course. It was a gerontology certificate. I got a gerontology certificate. It was a 1-year course just to get my feet wet, just to get a sense of what does this geriatric population look like. And I enjoyed it. I did very well. And from there, I went back to school. I went for a master's. It took me 4 years. I went part-time. I had internships. I had school. I had papers.
And that's
I
to
had
be a
tests.
social worker.
Correct.
Okay.
To be a social worker, and I received my master's in social work. And we opened up an office in Boca, and I went and I met, I went to the facilities and I met doctors and attorneys and all the resources that I would need to help my families and clients. So I did this for 5 years, and then 6 years ago decided to go on my own.
Okay. Awesome. So you're a buyer from Macy's. You start to talk to you said your sister?
Correct.
Your sister, and you start thinking about this geriatric thing and start thinking about social work. You do that, and now you have this company now for 6 years called Senior Options.
Correct.
So when I think of my own mother, or I think of my patients and their family members, I see them managing, their care. If my mother wasn't able to manage her care, I would probably manage it, or my brothers would, and I would. What scenarios are families finding themselves in that I understand there's family dynamics. I'm not going to get into that.
Right.
I don't want to get into that because that's common. I'm just saying, even in a healthy, well-functioning, family unit, they still may not have the time, to be able to manage their mother or father's care. What scenarios do you find people in that they're just like, is it just they have the money, they're not into medicine, it's too complicated? Tell me a little bit about, so someone can identify themselves.
Why would somebody call us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think what happens, children call once a week, all different stories, right? But everything on, how is everything? Everything's fine. I went to lunch with Sophie, and tomorrow I'm going, with the group to a show, and 3 days from now I'm going to a concert. All is good. In reality, it's not good. And so
Great
they don't
point.
want,
Great answer.
right. So they don't want their children to worry. Everything is good. But in reality, when the children or loved one comes down, whether it's Christmas break, Thanksgiving, they have a week off and they, come down for a quick weekend, they put their eyes on their loved ones and like, oh my God, what happened to my mother, right? So wearing a soiled dress, the house is a mess, or there are signs, a lot of ER visits, depression, hearing sadness over the phone, confusion over the phone. So some things you could pick up, right? And you say, things aren't right, but I have a presentation, I have children, I have, we're in the sandwich generation here, right? We're taking care of our kids and our elderly parents. So it's hard to manage that to the degree that it needs to be managed. And we do see people falling through the cracks. And I have incredible success stories, and they don't always end up good, but they're still success stories because we help the family when they were in California, New York, anywhere but here, right? Get through some of the most difficult times of their own lives, as well as their loved ones.
Yes.
And so we bring to the table resources, we give direction and recommendations and real solutions to situations that they don't know. They're not a care manager and they don't live here. So whether they're a professional or not, they're an expert in what they're doing. We are the experts in the aging field.
Sure. Well, you answered just like I said, because I have my experience with taking care of with patients, and I asked you that question because I genuinely wanted to know, what would pop something. Why would someone retain your services? Right. I don't think that there's a better answer for that, because it's true. You call mom or dad. How you doing? Oh, everything's great. I got my hair done. I went to the show. We went and played bridge, mahjong, whatever. They're not telling you that their appetite has decreased. They're not telling you that their back pain has flared up. They're not even telling you that they might have slipped and fallen.
Correct.
And because they got themselves up. So there's a lot of things that information. So, but the hard part must be how do you get that person to accept
Our services?
to accept your services?
Right.
Because the son or daughter may be going, oh, that would be great. This way I can make sure my mom's getting the best care, that she isn't slipping through the cracks, that cough that she's been having for a few days isn't turning into a full-blown pneumonia, or, okay, those falls isn't turning into a fractured hip. How are you getting them to say,
Accept the services. Okay, so it's so funny because I was once walking into a house and I hear the mother say, literally, quote unquote, I don't need anybody, I don't want anybody. And the daughter, her face was ashen. It's like, take a deep breath. I said, I've never walked into a home in 11 years doing this where they said, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
I wanted you to be here. Once I get in the door and I forge a trusting relationship, I bring value to the table. We tell them something or bring something to their lives that they didn't know about, they didn't know how to implement, or they just knew about it, thought about it, but just didn't make it happen. So now you have a person that did make it happen
you
for
lean
them,
into the microphone?
and now they get the value. And once they get that value and they trust us, now they're calling us. When are you coming? I need this. I'm not feeling well. My husband, I think he fell last night, but all sorts of stories. So, like I said, they never really want us, but once we come in and we forge that relationship, I'm working with families and clients for 7 years. Starts with the couple, they're kind of independent, but children still want some oversight. And then, in 7 years, when you're in your 90s, things tend to happen. We're all aging, even as we're talking here, we're aging.
Well, I'm a strong proponent of, of prevention, and having this care management service definitely helps with a lot of prevention, and also helps with catching things before they get too complicated,
Correct.
medically. Tell me, Sherry, how can people find you? What's your website, your phone number,
Okay.
all that business, your
Okay.
email, all that?
Okay. The best way to find us is through our website, which is www.senioroptions, plural, flforflorida.com. You could go to our Facebook page, Senior Options Inc., or you could call us at 800-585-6720, or our local number, 561-372-8026.
Great. You and I discussed another thing that you mentioned on the phone with me was about the non-well spouse. Tell me a little bit about what that means, because I think this is a great, great point as to another reason why because what's happening to the non-well spouse?
Right. So many times we are brought into a situation where there's a couple, and I call them I don't want to say sick, it's the well spouse and the non-well spouse. And I always say to my clients, kiddingly, I'm like, are you 25? I know I'm not anymore. And they're like, oh, if only, right? So now they're in their 80s and 90s, and they are the caregiver. Well, at 80,
The well spouse.
the well spouse,
The well
correct,
spouse is the caregiver.
Is the caregiver. And I explained to them that the stress is creeping in slowly, and maybe not so slowly, and I'll ask them, when is your next doctor's appointment? And 9 out of 10 times, oh, I changed it. I canceled it. I moved it, till 3 months or 2 months from now, because they're so busy caring for their loved one. They want to make everything right for them, and sometimes they can't. But even if they can, it's, like I said, the stress is creeping in and it's taking over. And a lot of times, I see it too often, where that well spouse becomes more sick than the non-well spouse.
So what's happening is that the well spouse is taking care of the sicker person, his wife or
Correct.
her wife or husband, and they're neglecting themselves.
Correct. Exactly.
And so I have had multiple scenarios where I'm talking to the 50, 60-year-old daughter or son, and they're saying, mom's at this hospital and dad's at this hospital. And dad's, has pneumonia and mom fell and broke her hip. And now you got both things going on because they weren't necessarily taken care of. And I thought that was just a really, really good point to bring out, that well spouse they're doing so much for the loved one
Right.
that they may be neglecting themselves. And so your services can help that not,
Right.
fall through the cracks.
Right. It's funny, Norma, because when I meet this couple and I tell them verbatim, just what I'm saying here, I also say, and I just lost my train of thought, the well spouse. Oh, I tell the well spouse, I'm just as concerned about you
Yes.
as I am about, and I point to
That's great.
their partner, because I see it too many times, So we make up a care plan not only for the non-well spouse, but really what should the well spouse be doing to make sure that they are
That's
taking
great.
care of themselves.
Well, Sherry is a great resource here in the community, and she can speak to you on the phone. And if you have any questions, please reach out to her. She may be able to help you with your loved ones to get that peace of mind. Really, it's that peace of mind that we
Absolutely.
want, but building that bridge of trust, and it sounds like that's what you are able to do once you get in the home. And because I have that same experience too, when I treat, as soon as the patients meet me, or they meet the therapist, they start to release, because they actually do really, majority of people do like the attention, and they want to, have some support.
Correct.
Who doesn't want someone to help them do get the groceries or unload the groceries?
And again, like I said before, as they see things changing, and look, we can't take away those diagnoses, but what we could do is make their lives the best it could be wherever they are in that disease process.
Sure. Well, tell us again your phone number and information to
Okay.
Senior Options.
Our website is senioroptionsfl.com. Our Facebook page is Senior Options Inc. You could call us at our local number, 561-372-8026, or our 800 number, which is 800-585-6720.
Give her a call. I was super impressed when I spoke to her on the phone as a therapist of 24 years, and her doing this for, probably about close to a decade now. I was super impressed with her passion, her knowledge, and her resources to be able to globally assess someone in their home and to provide, that network of services that family members are looking for. So super nice to meet you.
Same here.
I look forward to seeing what you do more in the community. And I want to thank Whitehall Boca again for our sponsorship. They are a skilled nursing and rehab facility here in Boca. Give them a call if you need any help to recover from an accident or illness at 561-392-3000. We're going to go to commercial, and we'll be right back with Dr. Pickholtz, a doctor of osteopathic medicine.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
In this day and age of social media, did you know that using live radio, internet, TV, and all the latest social media platforms can help grow your business, allowing you to more personally connect with your clients? Community Connections with Norma G invites you to be a guest on our live radio, TV, internet show. Being personally interviewed and airing pre-recorded commercials across our network will make your business selling points more powerful, make it easier for your clients to find you, and drive more traffic to your website. You can choose from a variety of radio, internet, TV packages, including live guest spots, on-air advertisement, pre-recorded commercials, and social media promotion across multiple platforms. Show airs locally on FM and AM radio in Florida, nationally on iHeartRadio, and internationally via Facebook Live and Periscope. Let Community Connections with Norma G increase your social media presence and exposure. Give us a call today to schedule your spot at 954-802-2015. That's 954-802-2015. Email me at ccnormag@gmail.com for more information, or visit me at Community Connections with Norma G on Facebook. Let's share our passions while connecting with our community. Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G, and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Welcome back to Community Connections with Norma G. And once again, we want to thank our sponsor, Whitehall Boca Raton, for supporting us here at the show. They are a skilled nursing and rehab facility in Boca, and they can assist you with any physical therapy, occupational speech therapy, and nursing needs post accident or illness. So give them a call at 561-392-3000 and schedule a tour. This for our third segment of the show, we have Dr. Pickholtz, and he is a doctor of osteopathic medicine.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Good, and we're just going to have a little conversation just about kind of really whatever you want to talk about, but you are a young, rising doctor in our community in Boca, and we want to invite you on and give you the opportunity to share about what you do, what makes you unique and special, and just what you're passionate about at your practice in your office.
So, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
As you can see, I'm an osteopath, which means that we are a little bit different than the typical doctors. Osteopaths got their start about 250 years ago when medicine was essentially bloodletting, and they said that wasn't working. So there was a wonderful physician by the name of A.T. Still who went and kind of looked at anatomy and physiology and said, let's try to figure out what's actually going on with people, and did a lot of work with manipulations as he was inspired by the bone crackers of Europe. And actually one of his students was a man named Palmer, who went off and started chiropractic. So if you take what a chiropractor does and you take what an MD does, you put them together, that's what a DO is.
Yeah, and I asked you that on the phone. We spoke last week. I guess I hadn't really formally differentiated in my brain. You have MD, which is medical doctor, and then you have DO, which is doctor of osteopathic medicine. And so it's the combination of chiropractic with medicine.
Practically at this point in time in history, there's essentially no differences. In fact, the residency program that is going on right now, the training, the postdoctoral training, is actually they've come together to be one unified unit because we essentially do all the exact same things. We're all board certified in whatever we're certified in. For me, I'm board certified in internal medicine, but the training is essentially the same with the addition of DOs learn osteopathic manipulation. That being said, MDs can learn osteopathic manipulation. In fact, Harvard, I think it was in 2004, 2005, started teaching it as an elective over there. So it's not specific only to osteopaths, we just happen to have that extra training as it is.
And so do you consider yourself to be in a position to do all the manipulations the way a chiropractor does?
If I wanted to, I can. I do some manipulations in the office. I do some manipulations in the hospital when appropriate. I do have a few patients that come in specifically for manipulations, but a good 90% of my patients are coming in for regular internal medicine. Right.
Understood. So you just kind of have, it's like another
tool in my medical bag.
In your medical bag. Where'd you go to school?
I started off in NICOM, which is in Old Westbury, New York, and my amazing wife got a job down in Joe DiMaggio, and we made the decision to come down to Florida about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I finished school over in Nova Southeastern, which is over in Fort Lauderdale. Did my training down here in Florida, in Wellington, and now I'm in Delray practicing.
Did you want to be a doctor from a young age? Is this something in your family?
In second grade, I knew that I wanted to be a doctor. And then when I went to college, I said, wow, all these people were a little bit too gung-ho and crazy for into medicine. I took a step back, and I met my wife, who said, you know what? You need to be a doctor. It's the right thing for you. And she pushed me to go back into medicine and to go back into school and to do all my pre-med requirements and to go into
what qualities was she observing that lead you to was it your caregiving? Was it your interest in medicine versus you should go be a finance guy?
I think she just saw me happiest over there. If you've ever met a person, if you're dating and you know someone, this is the right person for you, this is not the right person for you. And certain people you can meet and say, you know what, this is what they're meant to be. This is what they need to do. So I was very fortunate, in addition to her making me the happiest person in the entire world, for her to really bring out the best in me, and that was what she did. So.
It sounds like she made you the happiest person in the world 4 times over.
She made me the happiest person 6 times over.
6?
Well, myself.
Okay.
For finding myself, for finding her. And then, yes, we do have 4 amazing daughters, and so yes, all 6 of us, each of us is a blessing.
That's a lot of estrogen.
It is a lot of estrogen. Even our dog is neutered. There's no added testosterone
my
there.
uncle he's now passed, but he was a pilot for Viasa, which is a Venezuelan airline, and it's my mom's sister. He married my mom's sister, 4 daughters, and he was a pilot. I mean, that's a pretty masculine kind of type. He's a big job, flying internationally around the world. And to see him on a Sunday morning, because I used to go there, I'm the cousin going to visit. He loved having 4 daughters.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
He had to try and keep everybody in line. It wasn't easy, but that's awesome. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about where your practice is and how did you end up in Boca?
So we actually moved to Boca about 10 years ago. We were living in Miami at the time, and we were looking for a community to raise our daughters. And we were invited over by our cousins to Boca, and we visited, and we said, this is it. This is the place where we want to live. And during that time, I was doing rotations down in Miami, up to Belle Glade, and throughout residency, going to Wellington, and had an opportunity to go and join Delray Hospital. And I love the area there. The hospital treats me amazing. They take care of my patients exceptionally well. And I found an office that was there about 18 months ago. I've been on my own. I was with a group beforehand, but I opened up my own practice. And for the last 18 months, we've been where we are. We're near Military Trail on Atlantic, kind of
So in Delray?
In Delray Beach, about a mile north of the hospital. And we serve the general area. I do have patients that come all the way from Wellington, all the way from Boca, that they do come to visit, and we take care of them. But for the general most part, we are in the Delray area taking care of the Delray folk.
Okay. So when people come to your office, do you, when I was doing some research on the osteopathic, that's the whole person approach kind of
Absolutely.
mindset. And so tell me a little bit about that.
So when I have 3 questions to everyone who comes into the office, actually 4. The first question is, do you have a sense of humor?
Okay.
But I'm going to ask everyone, what is going on, what's right with you? What are your expectations, and what can we do together? So if someone's going to come in with a complaint, let's not focus in only on the negative. Let's also focus in on the positive. Let's use the positive that we have that's going on with you to try and fix what is going on. In osteopathy, we try to go towards people's health. There are problems that are going on, but we try to use what is going right to try to regain the health. The whole osteopathic perspective is that we try to go towards the health, that everything is connected in and of itself. If someone's coming in complaining of shoulder pain, I can tell you a few times I've actually said, it's actually coming from your foot. You have a short leg that's going on. There's a problem with the foot, and that in turn changed how they were walking, which in turn how their spine was, which was why they're coming in with shoulders. That is probably the exception rather than the rule, but we tend to see people in their entirety rather than someone's coming in with a shoulder pain. Let me only focus in on that one small area that is the shoulder.
So I think I'm starting to understand this whole extra tool in your pocket, because in your medical bag, this extra tool in your medical bag is because when you traditionally, I've seen chiropractors, I've been to chiropractor's office, and they do have a big health and wellness mindset of nutrition, prevention, alignment. So if you're taking that in addition to your medical practice all in one, it seems it's occupational therapy. What's the definition of occupational therapy? It's the balance of work, rest, and play. So if there's a part of your life that's out of balance, where they're working too much or playing too much or too much rest, something's impaired. And so it's looking at those 3 things of how it's functioning. And in elderly adults, sometimes them we're getting up out of bed and walking to the bathroom, that is their work at this point.
Absolutely.
But in a younger person, it could be getting them back to their actual job. And so I think I understand what this osteopathic philosophy is.
Absolutely.
So I think I grasp it. So if anything, now I know. So I knew it before, but I didn't really fully grasp it. And even when I was younger, I think I went to a doctor who manipulated me, and that's what the DO was. because I normally now would just go to a chiropractor. I wouldn't even think to go to a DO because I didn't so used to not connecting those dots.
So that's what we do. We connect all the dots. We try to see the whole picture. We try to see the nutrition. We try to see the sleep. We try to see their functionality. And we, what's your expectations? How do you want to get back? And what can we do together in order to get back to the highest level of functioning?
And so what is the name of your practice?
Health Internal.
Health Internal.
We have health first. Health is always first, especially
Okay.
from our perspective.
And do you have a website, phone number?
Phone
Tell
number
us
to
into
the
the
office
camera.
is is 561-450-9933, and the website is www.healthinternal.co, not com, co, it's a little bit shorter, and tells a little bit about us, and feel free to go on there. You can also email us, drdovdo, Dr. Dove, D-O, at gmail.com, and we love to see new patients. We love to take care of everyone. Whatever we can do, this is what we like to do.
And so when you see patients over at the hospital and they need rehab, you sometimes follow them into a skilled nursing or rehab that you could particularly refer them to in the facility and then follow them.
Absolutely. We have a bunch of facilities that we do go to. I know Whitehall is sponsoring. I do go to Whitehall. They have a phenomenal facility over there. They take very good care of their patients. When my patients are over there, the nurses, they will text message me whenever there's a problem, even at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we work on fixing it.
Yeah, they want to get their meds and stuff. And then once they discharge home, you can now continue to follow them.
We can continue to follow them.
These are patients that, like you said, you get privileges over at Delray Medical Center. So you'll just walk in that morning and it won't be necessarily a patient you had previously. Will you get new patients assigned to you?
So a few times a month, I'll go in there and we'll have emergency room call. That means for the people who have physicians that either don't come there, don't have physicians, I'll admit them. I'll take over their care while they're in the hospital. Some of them come and continue to follow along with me. They like the care.
Sure. No, I understand. Yeah, I was just curious how that works as far as sometimes people are here on vacation. They don't necessarily have a doctor down here.
Absolutely.
And so those are snowbirds.
We have a lot of snowbirds.
Huge snowbird population
As
here.
my wife likes to call them snowflakes because
Yes.
tend to be a little bit flaky with their medical care.
That can happen. Do you see that a lot when they come down here?
Yes, and I like to have the patients, have the open communication with their doctors up north or wherever they are to make sure that they're followed, to make sure that if they do have a problem, hey, they have someone who knows what their particular issues are, that knows what has worked in the past, what has not worked in the past, and can work them and, get them in and out of the hospital and back to their health as fast as possible.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come in today. At the top of the hour when we did the segment on cancer research and the cycle for survival, the event that helps fund, it's an event to help fund cancer research. So do you find yourself doing ongoing research, or do you have to seek journals, or how do you find yourself staying up to date?
Well, staying up to date is a very important thing. All doctors need to do continuing medical education. I regularly read articles to see what's new, what's out there. I'm also regularly challenged by patients who have things that some people haven't seen before, and I ask them, do your own research. A lot of part that we do in the practice is to really empower the patients to say, okay, this is what's wrong with you. What can you find? And I'm open to them educating me on what the new treatments are and reaching out to the specialists and pushing them to the limits to seeing what can we do. I myself have a history personal history of research. I did research in post-traumatic stress disorder before medical school. I did research in headache in particular, and I appreciate the need for research, the vitality of research, how it changes medicine for only the better. So everything that we can do to support research, really, it's a wonderful thing, and I encourage it.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Pickholtz. He obviously is very passionate and concerned for his patients, and he's able to follow you along your care and its entire continuum from the hospital to rehab to getting back home. So thank you so much for coming in. Give him a call, and he'll help you with that. Great. Thanks for tuning in to Community Connections with Norma G. If you want to donate to Cycle for Survival, there will be a link on my page at Community Connections with Norma G if you want to follow that. And also there'll be links to all my guests today as to how to find their services. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye. You've been listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We will be back next Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. with new guests to share about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Did you hear something you liked today on our show? Please contact me, Norma G, at 954-802-2015 or email me at ccnormag@gmail.com. I look forward to helping you expand your business, project, or idea and connect with our community.